Let's not panic about Syracuse basketball right now in the transfer portal.
You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everyone, in the Locked On Syracuse podcast. I'm Jackson Holzer, and thank you for making us your first listen of every single day here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And we're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And guys, we all just need to take a deep breath. Don't panic. I know the transfer portal's been open for the last couple of weeks, and I know Syracuse only has one addition, but we all just need to take a deep breath and relax. Everything right now, for now, is fine. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Okay, so on today's show, Syracuse has made some progress already in the transfer portal. Who are the players that Syracuse is currently slated to lose in the transfer portal, and how does it compare to the rest of the ACC? And guys, I'm going to tell you right now, it's pretty normal. It's pretty normal what Syracuse is going through right now, because every team, it feels like, has to deal with this new or relatively new thing called the transfer portal, where there's no penalties if you were to leave your current team. But the reason why Syracuse has made progress so far in the transfer portal, it's pretty obvious. They've already landed someone. They got a center, Eddie Lampkin. 24/7 Sports has him as a 4-star transfer, averaged 10-7 at Colorado, and we know his strengths and weaknesses, right? He's not someone who you're getting for defense, but what he can do is rebounds, and he's very good on the offensive glass, and he can chip in a little bit on offense. Scores 10 points a game. He's got a little bit of a low post game as well. And he can surprisingly move for someone that is 300 pounds. Eddie Lampkin is a decent player, and we've talked a lot here on this podcast about the aggregate and where he falls in that. And I don't think he's going to be the crown jewel of Syracuse's transfer portal class, but the reason why it's progress is because he's a decent player, solid starter that fills a need. Syracuse needed a center in the transfer portal, and they didn't. Quite frankly, they weren't going out for the best ones, it seems like, because all the best ones are still available. They seem to settle, and that's okay, especially if they're going to go after other players at different positions that they might need just a little bit more, guards and on the wings. Another reason why they've made a lot of progress here in this transfer portal, and that we need to kind of just relax a little, is most of the players that the Orange are currently after publicly, keyword is publicly after, are all still available. They're mostly there. With the exception of Maliq Brown-Jones, every player that I'm about to list is still at least considering Syracuse, or it hasn't been publicly shot down. Brown-Jones from UNC Greensboro said that, or he released his top 3 and Syracuse wasn't in it, so they're out. But aside from that, Malik Mack from Harvard, he's still there. He's still there. Played with Donnie in high school at St. John's. Darlin Stone Dubar, the talented wing from Hofstra, available. Jyare Davis, available. Naheem McLeod has been recruiting him pretty hard on Twitter. He's still there. Farrell Payne's another guy they've been going after from Minnesota, still on the board. Dakota Lefew from Mount St. Mary's, on the board. BJ Freeman from Milwaukee. What else is new? Jaquan Carlos from Hofstra, who I spoke with Mike McAllister on yesterday's podcast, and we both are pretty high on Jaquan Carlos, and the On3 rankings are pretty high on him too. He's a 4-star transfer now, inside the top 200. One of the best passing or pass first guards in the portal. Roddy Gail former Syracuse priority recruit from Niagara Falls. The Orange recently publicly reached out to him, or it came out, and Bryce Pope as well from UC San Diego. The point being, I just listed a whole bunch of guys. I get it. It's a lot to take in. But the point being with those guys is they're all still there. They have not committed yet. And this isn't even taking into account the players that Syracuse could be after privately. Remember with the Eddie Lampkin situation, honestly, I don't think many of us knew that Syracuse was after Eddie Lampkin. It didn't come out until, I think it was Elijah Moore and Donnie Freeman and Naheem McLeod. A few guys on Instagram were starting to kind of tease it with Lampkin's story. And then, of course, Brent Axe from Syracuse.com reports the next morning that he's visiting campus. Lo and behold, in the span of 24 hours, we go from not knowing that Syracuse is after Eddie Lampkin to Lampkin is now a member of Syracuse. Publicly and privately, Syracuse is after the big fish. So don't panic. Just relax. They have made progress already in the portal. They have made progress. They added Eddie Lampkin. He fills a need. He's a center. He can start. He averages 10 points and 7 rebounds. We know his strengths and weaknesses. Naheem McLeod now slides into the number 2 role. We get all of that. That's a good start to the transfer class. And the guys that they are currently after right now, at least publicly, are still on the board. They have not committed yet. They haven't committed. So I would not panic just yet. And also keep in mind that there are other players that are going to keep entering their names into the transfer portal. Kadari Richmond, Eric Reynolds from St. Joe's. Talked about that with Mike McAllister as well. Still plenty of guys who haven't even entered the transfer portal yet, who at least we're speculating could put their name in the hat and could be fits for Syracuse. All that being said, they've made progress so far. They've made a decent start. I would say if this was the end, it would be bad. But by the time you're watching this, it'll be April 10th. Still got a ways to go here in the transfer portal. So that's why I say that Syracuse so far has made solid progress. We just need to relax. But coming up, who are the players that Syracuse is projected to lose? And how do they compare to the players that they are going after? It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. And one thing I didn't mention is the Masters, which is coming up tomorrow. And who do you think is going to win? I think it's going to be Rory McIlroy. And currently, I think he'll complete the Grand Slam. And currently, his odds are at plus 1,000. So get in on it while you can. And what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the streaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Welcome back, folks, into Locked On Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer, and we're talking about how Syracuse should not panic about the transfer portal right now. And more importantly, really, it's us that should not panic about the transfer portal, because Syracuse has made solid progress already getting Eddie Lampkin, and the guys that they are publicly after are still on the board for the most part, except for Maliq Brown-Jones. He's going elsewhere. And we don't even know if Syracuse might be working in the shadows just like they were for Lampkin to begin with. And now it's time to talk about the guys that Syracuse is losing. And I know it seems like a lot. It's a lot of players. And it's not even really taking into account that Judah Mintz is probably out the door. Probably. We don't know officially, but writing's kind of on the wall. The guys that they're losing, Maliq Brown, Quadir Copeland, Benny Williams, Justin Taylor, and Peter Carey. And we've talked about this before. There are some impactful players. There are some impactful players there. I would say that Maliq Brown and Quadir Copeland are solid players, obviously. Benny Williams was decent in spurts, and other times he was unplayable. And the other two guys, let's be honest, were just really roster fillers. So I looked it up on the On3 rankings. Keep in mind, these things change every single day. And I think you guys would be a little bit surprised where some of these rankings are at. But I did it for you. Without further ado, let's get to it. It's another reason why you shouldn't panic about the portal and who they're losing. Maliq Brown is ranked 138 in the transfer portal right now. 138. That's right. A guy who is an all ACC defender is 138 in the transfer portal. Quadir Copeland was the runner-up for 6th man of the year in the ACC, is ranked 184. Let that sink in for a second. Before we all panic about the players Syracuse is losing, where are they ranked? Just to give us a gauge. That's all it is, a gauge. Where are they ranked nationally? Because sometimes we can get caught in this Syracuse bubble where I'm not going to say aren't knowledgeable about everyone else around the country, but we just follow our players more. That's natural. Maliq Brown's 138, Quadir Copeland, Maliq Brown's 138, Quadir Copeland is 184 in the transfer rankings right now. They're both 4 stars, but they're pretty lowly ranked. Benny Williams, 225. Justin Taylor, 240. And Peter Carey is not ranked. And guys are entering the transfer portal every single day. And the rankings, I promise you, they're only going to get lower for those guys. So what's the point? Why does this matter? It's so that we can kind of have a perspective about the guys that we're losing and who we're going after. Most of these guys that they are going after are better. Jyare Davis is better than Maliq Brown on the rankings. BJ Freeman, better than Maliq Brown on the rankings. Roddy Gail, he's top 60, I believe, last time I checked. And of course, Malik Mack. Right now, he's top 10 in the transfer portal. Darlin Stone-Dubar is top 50 last time I checked. Jaquan Carlos from Hofstra, who we all wrote off immediately as we don't want him. He only averages 10 points a game at Hofstra, even though he's one of the best passers currently available. He's ranked right alongside Quadir Copeland. They're in the similar ballpark, both 4-star players in the portal. Point being is that the guys that they're going after, at least publicly, are better than the ones that they are losing. Maybe that's why those guys are leaving. Just a food for thought. Just a food for thought. And also, I think for what it's worth, J.J. Starling is a good player. I think we can all agree on that. And I think next year he can make one of the all-ACC teams, at least as an honorable mention. He was top 10 in the class last year. I don't even know if he would be top 30 this year. This transfer portal is as deep as ever. Actually, it's deeper than ever and more talented than ever. The front end talent is incredible. You have the two big centers available, and I know Syracuse isn't going after them. But you got some really quality players. If Maliq Brown is 138 in the transfer portal, and we know how good he is and how good he can be, I think that says it all, really. The guys that they are losing are not ranked as high as you think. And the players that we're currently going after are ranked higher. Just relax. Just relax a bit. Let everything play out. You have until what? May 1st until this transfer portal ends, and then it closes for like a month or two and then reopens. Let's all just take a little deep breath about the players that they're losing. Obviously, Judah Mintz, but he's not a transfer. I don't think he's going to transfer. All right. But that being said, how does Syracuse compare to the rest of the ACC? Is it unique to Syracuse what they're going through? Is it only them, or are plenty of teams in the ACC going through the same thing? I was once trying to buy a last-minute ticket for a New York Mets game last year, and it was frustrating. I couldn't see the view from my seat, and the deals weren't that good at all. That's why I now use Gametime. Gametime is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Gametime app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. And one game that I'm thinking about attending is Mets-Marlins down in Miami on May 19th. I'll be there, and I can get in for as little as $5. I went to the Gametime app, searched up Mets tickets, and the deal popped up right away. You can do the same with any team of your choosing, including the Syracuse Mets. That's right. It's so easy to find, and Syracuse is at home today, and you can get in for $4. You get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. Welcome back, everyone, into Locked On Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer. We're talking about Syracuse in the transfer portal right now. We're kind of in this holding period where the national championship is over. Congratulations to UConn, even though I don't really like them and I can't stand Hurley, but that's besides the point. And not much is really happening in the transfer portal, and it's causing a lot of people to get antsy. Syracuse has 5 players currently in the transfer portal, and they've only added 1, and it's causing people to be nervous. But I'm telling you right now, you shouldn't be. Because not only have they made progress by getting Eddie Lampkin, we talked all about that, and how the players that Syracuse is losing are, well, they're not exactly losing, Patrick Ewing from Georgetown, right? And they still suck. They're not losing the greatest guys in the world. And now, their problem, say that with quotes, is that they are not unique to the rest of the ACC. And I did a lot of homework on this. Did a lot of homework on the players currently in the transfer portal for these teams. Just going to give you the overarching takeaways, and then we'll kind of get a little bit deeper into it. In the ACC, there are 11 schools that have not yet added a player in the transfer portal. Let me repeat that. 11 schools in the ACC have yet to add a player in the transfer portal. Those schools are Boston College, Clemson, Duke, Florida State, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, Notre Dame, Pitt, SMU, Stanford, and Virginia. So it's not just, the run-of-the-mill teams of the ACC. Nope. Duke, Carolina, and Virginia have yet to add anyone in the transfer portal yet. We know that's going to change, but the point being is that you're watching this on April 10th. Syracuse has added someone in the transfer portal, and 11 other schools in the conference have not. All right. Of course, the Orange, they have 5 players currently in the transfer portal. Right? They got 5 players. Maliq Brown, Quadir Copeland, Benny Williams, Justin Taylor, Peter Carey. 5 players. Does that seem like a lot? Well, it kind of is. The answer is kind of. There are 7 colleges in the ACC. 7 that have 5+ players in the transfer portal. And those schools are Cal, Florida State, Georgia Tech, Louisville, Miami, Syracuse, and Wake Forest. 7. So 6 other schools other than Syracuse right now. We're not unique. We're not unique. And we can just go down the line here of some of the teams in the ACC. We can just go down the line. Boston College, they have 4 players in the transfer portal, and they have not added anyone yet. Cal, a newbie to the ACC. Welcome to the ACC, Cal. You got 6 players in the transfer portal, and they've added 1. And it's a 3-star center. Not going to move the needle much, right? Clemson's got 2 players in the portal. They have not added yet. And it's not including the guys that are graduating from there either. Kind of see what I'm getting at here? Just relax about Syracuse because other schools in the ACC are going through similar things right now. We just need to all take a deep breath. Duke, they only got 2 players in the transfer portal as well, and they have not added yet. But Mark Mitchell recently put his name in there. Mark Mitchell's a pretty good player. Top 50 in the rankings right now. So they're probably going to lose him. Ouch. That one hurts, right? And I know it's Duke, and they got Cooper Flagg coming in, the number 1 recruit in the country, but hey, it's not nothing, right? Florida State, 5 players in the transfer portal. They have not added anyone yet. Georgia Tech, same boat. 5 players in the transfer portal, have not added. Louisville, do not get me started on what's going on with Louisville right now. Trust me, we should be thankful that we're not Louisville because Louisville literally has their entire team in the portal. I could not count how many players there were. It's everyone. Brandon Huntley-Hatfield, of course, he went to NC State. But they're also losing Tyler Johnson, Mike James, all their best players. I know it's Louisville. They weren't a good team, but they still had talented players in the portal. And they have 1 3-star point guard to show for it that they've added. Miami has 5 players currently in the transfer portal. Now they added Lynn Kidd from Virginia Tech, so another conference movement there, but still 5 players. NC State, honestly, the cleanest of the bunch. They have Brandon Huntley-Hatfield. They haven't done anything else. They haven't lost anyone yet. I mean, I can just keep going down the line here. Point being is that Syracuse is not alone. They're not alone. 11 schools in the conference have yet to add a player, and that's not including Syracuse. North Carolina, 2 players in the portal, have not added. Notre Dame, 2 players in the portal, have not added. Pitt, 2 players in the portal, have not added. SMU, again, another new school. 2 players in the portal, have not added. Stanford, they're losing everyone. Everyone's gone. If you look at the On3 transfer portal rankings, you're going to see a lot of Stanford because they're losing everyone. Maxime Renault, the number 1 transfer in the class right now, he's gone. He's leaving. Virginia, One player in the portal, have not added. Virginia Tech, Lincoln Kidd, literally goes to Miami. Averaged 13 points per game. They also are losing Sean Padula, who averaged 16 points a game last year. And Wake Forest has 5 players in the portal, and they've added 1 4-star small forward. Guys, what we're going through is not that bad. It could be a lot worse. It could be a whole lot worse. We could be Louisville. We can be Stanford. We can be some of these other schools that haven't added anything. At least we got something so far. It's only April 10th. There's still plenty of time. So the theme of this episode really is everyone has to just relax and take a deep breath. Because when you look around the conference, it's like we're all in the same boat. No one really knows what's going to happen this offseason. So don't worry about other teams passing us or, we're never going to catch up to the big dogs. We don't have to worry about that right now. There's so much roster turnover. So much. Syracuse has added someone already in the transfer portal in Eddie Lampkin. He's a solid addition. They're not losing anyone who really, they might be losing significant players to their team, but they are not losing anyone who is spectacular in terms of transfer portal rankings. And when you compare it to the rest of the ACC, it's not, Syracuse is not a unique team here. You know what's unique? What's going on with Louisville. That's unique because literally their entire roster is gone. What's unique is Stanford because all their best players are gone. That's what's unique. Let's all relax about Syracuse in the transfer portal. Still plenty of time to improve this roster. Now, coming up on tomorrow's episode, we got another recruiting analyst for basketball joining the show. Of course, if you like this episode, drop a like. And if you really liked it, subscribe to the channel and turn on those notifications so you know right away when the next podcast is dropping. Take care, everyone, and let's go big fish hunting in the transfer portal.